Good evening. No, we don't need it. We're just going to draw. Hey, Joe. Good evening. All right. So I'm on DC time here. So it's like almost 2. Right? No, I'm just getting started. I'm actually a night owl. So I was invited to come out here, and I said, listen, I can come out if it's after my 4th grade son's football game. Those were my conditions. How many of you have kids that play little league sports and all that kind of stuff? This was his last game, and I said, I can't miss the game, but I'll come out. So I caught a flight at 2 o'clock, got here at 8. Just for you guys. I leave at 10 in the morning. All right. How many of you have an e-commerce site or you have a Shopify site set up, a store set up, or you plan to? Okay. So, and how many, by a show of hands again, because I didn't get to see it, are in the SMA program? Okay, so I'm going to give you kind of next level strategy on Facebook ads and beyond kind of what I taught there about the contests and giveaways. Does that sound fair? It's one of the fastest ways to launch your store, to launch your products, to help your clients, for those of you who have clients, is by doing these contests and giveaways. And I do them all the time. We do them all the time for our clients. I do them all the time for my wife's business. We have a full-time social media manager on my wife's e-commerce business, which is the hair bow and headband business. I show off Girly Boutique inside of the course. That by year 2 or going into year 3, it was already doing $1 million a year in sales. And it got there from doing the Facebook ads and also aligning with a couple of deal sites. This is something most people don't talk about, is that there's deal sites out there you also can align with that can sell some of your products, particularly for those of you that don't have drop ship products, but you have products that you actually have that you will ship out. These deal sites are like Zulily.com, some of you heard of these, Jane.com, GroupDeals.com. There's a few others. And her products are featured on those sites weekly. That also generates sales. I think about 20% of her sales per year come from those deal sites. So just having partnership and aligned partnerships with those deal sites can bring you a lot of business. But here's some of the stuff you're not doing when you're running contests. I'm going to draw it all out. So in the course, I talk about running an ad to a landing page. How many of you sat through the ClickFunnels presentation earlier today, right? We use ClickFunnels. We've created hundreds of funnels. We create probably close to 100 funnels a month inside of ClickFunnels. We use ClickFunnels religiously. I've been using it for a long time. I know there's a lot of different softwares out there, but I also back it. So what you're getting here in this seminar is the real deal. So you've learned how to create an ad, right? That goes to a landing page that says, give me your email, right? And this is where ClickFunnels starts, is that landing page. Okay, so and then you have a thank you page, right? There's my artist, is as good as I get drawing anything. All right, that's simple. This is simple funnel stuff. Everybody can do this in ClickFunnels like today. Some of you did it today, right? The ad part is the easy part. The strategy to do all of this correctly is what some people miss. They do all of it kind of half-assed, but they're missing a strategy. So I'm going to give you the strategy. So, for instance, let's say we're doing a bow giveaway. All of you can go to my wife's Facebook page and see that like a week or 2 ago, we did another hair bow giveaway. 150 hair bows we gave away. Doesn't seem like much, but it reached 130,000 people. It collected 1,100 emails, or I think it was over 1,200 emails actually. And more importantly, it collected about 1,000 new subscribers in Facebook Messenger. Okay, how many of you using Messenger bots for your business? Not very many people. It should be everybody here. Okay, because this is the next level that I didn't get a chance to teach in the SMA course that you're getting here. So this is how we increase sales. So we got add to contest, win, okay? This is win. Win what? Let's say it was the hair bows. Doesn't matter what it is you're giving away, but it needs to be something big and special, right? So to her audience, 150 hair bows is like awesome. It costs her like $20 total wholesale costs, but the value to somebody getting 50 bows, there's actually 3 winners, 50 bows each. For them, it's like 10 times 50, it's like a $500 value, or up to. It's tremendous for her audience. For some people, it might be a trip for, for one of the restaurants that I've steak in, which is Yummy Pig in Leesburg. We gave away, during Cinco de Mayo week, we gave away a trip to Mexico, right? A 2-day trip to Mexico, which made sense and it performed better than free burgers for a year. And it actually costs less because we got one of those 2 nights deals. It's like 2 nights, but it's probably going to get pitched on some sort of timeshare. I don't know, right? Okay. So, but here's the next level part of the strategy where you can increase sales. So it's, hey, when the hair bows, people put in their email. So you're collecting an email. So we're building the database. This is the goals, the objectives of the sorry, I'm not good at holding a microphone while doing this. So build database, right? Build a list. Let's just do list. That's number 1. Then when they go to the thank you page, guess what the thank you page says? Hey, thanks for participating. Click here and get 40% off anything in our online store till Friday only. That's the deadline. Use coupon code. At the time, I think it was take 40, right? Now, we're doing this with BigCommerce. We're in the middle of doing a whole transition over to Shopify. For those of you who are wondering, should I even be using Shopify? We're moving a $1 million e-commerce business into Shopify. What's that tell you? Use Shopify. Okay, so we're doing this in BigCommerce. So now we're saying on the thank you page, come get 40% off. To drive traffic, which is another objective. To drive traffic to the site and drive sales, right? Now, here's the beautiful thing. Inside the contest, technically Facebook's rules are you can't run a contest and force people to like, share, or tag in order to be entered into the contest. That's a gray area because Facebook can't monitor every single page, so a lot of people can get away with just doing that, right? I have clients who say, I don't care, I'm doing it anyway. So we do. But they're the ones writing it off. They're the ones responsible, and they get it. So the way to word it is, please like, share, and tag this, and enter here to win. That way they do it all. So they like, tag, and share, and they're entering their email to win. Then you set up a messenger bot, right? I'll give you the resources in a minute. The messenger bot, below the ad in the comments, so here's the Bo ad, okay? In the comments, every time somebody commented, this is the part you cannot miss. Every time someone commented, which, by the way, if you go and look, you'll see there's like 1,200 comments, all right? Every time someone commented, they got shot a Facebook message in Facebook Messenger that said, what? Thank you for participating. Here's a link to get 40% off. Use coupon code TAKE40. That 4x'd our sales from the previous contest we ran before Messenger Bot was even existing. It 4x'd our sales. Why? Because what do you think the open rate of Facebook Messenger is right now? 95. They're saying it's like 95. I think it's like 90 plus, right? Let's just say be safe. 90 plus. What's the open rate of email? 20. If you're really lucky, it's 20. Okay, if you're really good and they love you, right? So, but now we're hitting them at 2 different places, correct? All right, so how do we hit them on a 3rd place? Well, so number 3 is we're driving our messenger list. Now we have 2 lists. And here's an oh, by the way. If you don't know, how many of you have a Shopify or an e-commerce store that you have a abandoned shopping cart function connected to it? Okay. When you get your store set up, make sure you get this. It's just an app you can apply inside of Shopify. You guys have all seen this, right? You're shopping for underwear or something online, and all of a sudden you left it, and you're like, I don't think I want that, crazy Duluth trading underwear, whatever it is. And then you go, and all of a sudden you got an email saying, yeah, you left your shopping cart, don't, come back. And maybe they incentivize you, right? Abandoned shopping cart increases sales. Some of you know that. Here's something really kick butt for everybody that came tonight, right? So just write down shopmessage.me. Because now you can do abandoned shopping cart to Facebook Messenger, which does what? Increases your open rate by significant. It's sick, guys. Right now, So it's shopmessage.me. It's a new chat bot. Okay, there's all these different chat bots. We use MiniChat. We have a couple. There's also Chat Fuel. There's a whole bunch of other ones too, right? We've used Credit Response. So now you can do the abandoned shopping cart straight to Facebook Messenger, which is powerful, right? It's so powerful. Some of you are just looking at me like, I don't even know how to use messengers yet, but I think it sounds pretty powerful because I checked my messenger 50,000 times while sitting in this seminar. Okay? How many of you checked Facebook Messenger today? It's probably all of you. Some of you don't even know it's called that. All right, so you're driving your messenger list. So that's another list we're building. We're building our email list. We're driving traffic from one contest campaign. The problem with people saying things like, hey, just like, share, and tag, and you'll be entered to win, is that they'll get a lot of awareness. So we got 113,000 people. We spent $139, by the way. I don't think it went over 8 cents per engagement. Of that 113,000, 75% of it was organic because we let it run for a little bit. This is a strategy. Let the contest run for, if it's a good enough contest, it'll build up its own steam virally. Then you go in and advertise it. Here's another trick. Make it an engagement post, not a link. This ad, when you clicked on the image, actually did not link to anything. Now, some of you go, well, that seems really contrary to what I've learned in Facebook ads courses. Well, I don't care. We actually do it. We actually test it, and we see what works. And I know it's much more expensive to run a traffic objective or even a conversion objective to the contest. I'm talking about for contests and giveaways, not talking about for other things where you're generating leads. But to get a contest to blow up, we use engagement. Gets 113, but that's where most people stop. They just stop. They go, oh, look, we reached 113,000 people. And that will help sales. That will help blow up your stores, blow up your pages. It will do a lot, but it's not enough. You want to build your email list. You want to build your messenger list. Facebook created that Facebook Messenger app on your phone as a separate app for a reason. It is a separate platform. Think about it. Why did they make it a whole separate app? Because they want it to be its own platform. It is the new social media platform, right? So MiniChat is what we use, MANYCHAT. It's like $10 to get started with it per Facebook page. We have restaurants, HVAC companies, dentists. We have med spas. We're leveraging MiniChat for all of them in one way or another. Because once you have this messenger list, you can run a dark post ad just to your messenger list, right? And some of you are going, well, that seems difficult. That's easy. The hard part is you didn't know you could do it or you're just not doing it. That's the strategic part. See, you can go to facebook.com/blueprint and take a Facebook ads course, and it'll teach you the fundamentals of Facebook advertising, and it'll show you the how-to of all these little things. But what it misses is the strategy from people in the trenches that are making it work, right? Which is the whole reason why I'm here. Because when we look at doing a contest, yeah, there's a lot of pieces to it. It has to be a really great contest in the eyes of the audience. Otherwise, it'll fall short, right? We have a business that is an auto detailing business that has a restaurant attached to it. Pretty neat concept, kind of interesting. And they get a lot of high-end cars and everything, they do great detailing. And then they have a restaurant. And, we figured out by running a few restaurants, he wants to build up the restaurant side of his business, but that's not why people go there, right? And so the contests we were doing for the restaurant side of the business were not working well because not everything works all the time. We're testing. But then when we ran one for the auto detailing, it blew it up. And I said, we're going to have to build up the awareness of your restaurant by really getting people to pay attention to you first as the auto detailing, because that's going to be the core of why people are going to pay attention to you. We don't know that until you start running these contests and testing. In the meantime, you're building a list, driving traffic, driving sales, and building a messenger list. So now we're not leaving any money on the table, right? We're asking for the comment. The comment gets the message that directs people to sales, the thank you. So what's the next level? So where else do we hit them so we don't leave money on the table? What's the answer? Anybody know? What do we do now after this is running? Retargeting, but also now we have an email list, and that will be the next step, where we'll take that email list, we'll upload it into the audience set. We actually grow the email list by a minimum 1,000 every time we run a contest, and we run like the same one over and over. Sometimes we run it dark, sometimes we run it on feed. The next step is you get them into a sequence of emails. Email follow-up, right? And Facebook ads. So there was we did an ad to the list that said, time's running out to get your 40% off. We sent an email out saying, time's running out. Then the next one more day. Then it was a few more hours and ends today. And then it was, we decided to extend it through the weekend. Right? You guys have seen this. This happens to you all the time. People marketing to you like this all the time. It's just their strategic. The reason why they do it like this is because it works. And you always get those. When you're doing this is why Ty does it, right? I'm closing the course in like 2 hours, right? He opens it 4 hours later, but he's going to close it in 2, right? Right? But he does it because he knows that sense of urgency creates sales. It works the same in your businesses, okay? And it's going to work the same for your clients. So I'm not showing you this just so you can do it for yourself, but so you can also do this for your clients. In fact, literally, one of our newest clients is a supper club, a supper and jazz club in Maryland. And I went and met with the owner. It's an old theater. They do about $5 million a year in business. And I sold him by pulling, because when I see a client has a yellow pad and paper out, like Zach has here, I don't pull out my iPad and start taking notes. I actually pull out then my pad and paper, right? And I sat with him with the pad and paper, and I literally drew out what I'm doing right here. I said, I see you have 54,000 fans on your Facebook page, but, and then I said, and you're using Constant Contact for your emails, and your emails have been the same, because he showed me his Constant Contact. His email list, which was like 34,000, had stayed the same for 9 months. Okay, which I told him was a sin. A sin. I said, this is a sin. He said, what do you mean? I said, your email list hasn't grown in 7 months. He said, well, it's a pretty big list. I said, this is a crappy list for how big your place is. I said, and also, you're doing nothing on a weekly basis to grow this email list from your Facebook page. So I drew this out and drew out this funnel for him, literally like I'm drawing it out here with you. And it's all I needed to do for him to go, because they buy the strategy from you, right? They just need to know that you have the competence to be able to do something like this and pull it off, right? Then they have to believe and have confidence you can do it. He didn't need me to show him examples of clients. He didn't need me to show him. I could have. I didn't need to in this case. I just drew this all out and said, look, this is the strategy. I'm giving it to you for free, right? And he's just looking at me like bewildered, like, oh my gosh, we're not doing any of this stuff. And they have a full-time social media person on staff, full-time, who called me, said, I'm looking forward to meeting with your team, my team, for our kickoff meeting. And luckily, she's on the side of, I want to learn and I want to get better at this too, right? But and then he was like, you know what? We try to run ads, but some of them don't even run. And I'm like, I showed him the text overlay tool. You guys have seen that? Just type in text overlay tool in the Google if you haven't, which lets you upload your image to see if it will run based on how much text is on the ad, right? So type in text overlay tool if you don't know how to do that. I think I showed it in the course. And he was, that alone too, I actually showed him that on my laptop. I opened it up and showed him that. And I took one of the pictures from his feed. I said, let's take a picture off your feed and see if, because they had like tons of text on all their feed. You can go and look at it online. And he just watched it. I said, look, it failed. It failed the rules to be able to run. And he's like, oh my gosh, So then I'm showing the incompetence of his employer, unfortunately, right? Not trying to throw her totally under the bus, but basically just showing, look, this is the stuff you're missing. And it's not because you're doing it on purpose. It's just people do the best they can with what they know. You're doing the best you can with the resources that you have. That's why we're here to give you more resources, right? So I drew this out for him, and a $4,500 retainer and a $5,000 ad budget, some of which is going to go to Google pay-per-click because we're doing some Google pay-per-click, but we took it all over from them. For Facebook, Instagram, and pay-per-click management, $4,500. There's no packages. I don't sell packages. I recently I wrote a blog on how you should never sell packages. I know it goes against the grain of what some people learned. Some of you are looking at me right now going, I sell packages in my agency. Stop that. It's too much. How many of you sell packages, bundled services? You don't need to. Now, some of you go, well, Joe, I'm not Joe, so I can't sell a Facebook advertising only service package to somebody for $2,500 who's only doing $2 million a year in sales. And I would look at you and say, it's because you don't believe you can. And it's the only thing stopping you. The only difference between somebody charging $3, $4, $5 a month to a business that's doing $2 to $5 million and somebody who's charging $9.95 or even $500 is belief level, right? So how many of you believe you could execute on a strategy like this since you now know the pieces? Okay, but some of you are going, I don't know how to do the details of this, which you can Google. So you can Google how to use MiniChat, and it'll show you how to use messenger bots. You can, Bot Academy has a great blog and course on this. It's just, if you're not doing this sort of thing for yourself first, right, to get yourself results, you can't really expect to do it well for your clients. So I was fortunate because my wife was very tolerant. I said, I want to use your site as testing ground for all this. And if it works, we'll apply it to our customers. Wouldn't that be a cool way to handle your business too? I mean, you just heard Mike Long drop like 20 bombs in his presentation up here. I'm back there taking notes on a few of these things going, I had no idea. I mean, then it's about, do I go back and apply some of this? I mean, I better see a lot of t-shirts on Amazon tomorrow or in a few weeks. Seriously. What's funny about that is one of our new streams that we're doing right now is that my wife's created different bow sayings. Yeah, hair bow sayings and stuff that these girls want to do t-shirts. But we weren't even thinking that we could sell them on Amazon until I just heard Mike Long. So I'm also taking this information going, how do I go and apply this? So who has questions on contests and giveaways? Go ahead.
Maybe real quickly, can you just go back through the steps from start to finish?
Okay, so first of all, you want to have a mega giveaway, right? So if you can do small offers and giveaways, but like when Ty did I'm giving a car away, like that gets a lot of people's attention, right? So the giveaway has to seem like amazing. Like I'm giving away a 2-day, all expenses paid trip to Cancun on Cinco de Mayo. That's going to get a lot of people's attention, especially when you're advertising in a local market for a local business like a local restaurant, the whole world opens up, right? Well, you saw inside the course, I showed examples of the patio party giveaway. We've done a ton of those for a ton of different types of restaurants, right? Because it looks like a big deal to people. They get a whole party. You got to educate the client sometimes on how little it really costs them when they spread that cost out over a year. But once you get past that, you can do it. So the first thing you have to do is identify, what am I going to give away, whatever it is. So if you have a product or service you can't give away, then you have to give away something else that's fun, like an iPad, right, or a MacBook computer. My wife does a lot of Instagram loops with other people who will be like, here's a $1,000 giveaway at Christmas time, but she'll partner with like 5 other Instagram accounts so they all build their followers up, but they'll all participate in the contest, which is another thing you can do. You can participate with a few local businesses and all run a similar contest, and you all can feed off of it off all your pages if you don't have the financial resources to put into maybe a big giveaway for yourself. But it's got to be big. The bigger, the better, because it'll start going viral. In the case of the hair bow business, it's really easy because you got a lot of diehard moms that really love hair bows, and we have some really good audience sets that we've tested and set up that we can target, retarget to, and advertise to, which is why we can get 4 to 8 cents a click on the ads that are around contests and giveaways. So that's step 1, right? Step 2 is you're going to create the ad like in Canva, right? Canva.com or wherever you guys create your visuals. That's just an easy one. You're going to create your ad. You're going to run, you could test running your ad on feed and dark post. Some of you, anybody confused what a dark post means? Okay, so dark post means an ad that isn't showing up on the page feed. You've seen, if some of you have been scrolling Facebook and you see an ad and you're like, oh, I don't remember that for later. And then you went back to the page but never could find it again. That's because that was a dark post, meaning somebody just went into Ad Manager and the Power Editor, set up an ad, brought the image in through there and ran it as an ad that shows up on the feeds of the people you're targeting, but it doesn't actually show up on your page feed. That's called a dark post. Anything that you go to your feed first, like if I went to Girly Boutique's Facebook feed first and posted the picture of the bow giveaway, then went into Power Editor and advertised it, that's an on-feed post, right? Or ad. And also, by the way, we didn't advertise it to be on the side column or any partner sites or anything like that. However, for other types of campaigns, we will. I mean, you guys, Ty's follows you everywhere through retargeting, and he actually gave you guys the answer to that when you asked it. He said, he's using AdRoll, he's using YouTube, he's using Google retargeting, he's using, because between all of those mediums, Facebook, YouTube, Google, and using a service like AdRoll, it allows him to leverage all the partner websites that are out there that could possibly display his ad. But that isn't where you start, especially for small businesses, right? He wasn't doing that well, he probably was maybe on month one because he was willing to put the money into it. But most people can't do that in their first few months. So you got to start slow. So with ours, we did feed only. And because we want them to take action steps, by the way, we also did Wi-Fi only. Because when people are on Wi-Fi, they're sitting somewhere, or they're at least stationary, they're in their home, and we want them to put their email in and go through the steps and shop, right? And if they're in their car on their Verizon LTE, they're not very likely to probably put in their email. They might come back to it and forget it. So we just take that option out, and you can do that inside the ad set, right? You're going to create your landing page in ClickFunnels, and you can create that in literally under 10 minutes. And the simpler, the better. Some of you, I know people, they're like, well, I just spent half my day building my landing page. I'm like, what? You're one image in an opt-in form. And by the way, the less stuff you ask in an opt-in form, the higher your conversion. You guys know that. Ask for email only, ideally. Your conversions will go way up. If you ask for first name and email, your conversions will go down. Some people go, well, no, I want their phone number, I want their email, I want their date of birth. That's next step. That's second, once you get their email first, then move on to that other. That's why you can go to any company trying to generate leads and watch how they fail, because they try to collect too much information up front. It's too big of a leap. Are we finished? Okay, got it. Let's actually take some more questions. We got right here.
I have one. So for higher clients, you say only collect emails. But I mean, if we wanted to pre-qualify more candidates, could we potentially use that as a
Disqualifier.
more questions like?
Yeah. Yes, but what I would do is it's kind of like saying I want to gather up as much fish in my pond as possible, and then I'll fish and find the bigger fish with the more qualifying questions. So basically, you can get let's say I collected 1,000 emails, because you don't want to lose the people who might have given you more, but they don't trust you yet in the relationship, right? It's the problem with online anyway. People come to, they go onto a website and it says, hey, give me money. And it's like, well, I don't even know you yet, and you're asking me for money on their homepage. It's like going to a networking party like this and being like, hi, I'm Joe. Nice to meet you. Can I have your wallet? And it's like, no, I'm not going to give you my wallet. It's like, well, wait, come on, you can trust me, man. I just met you, but you can trust me with your wallet. And who's going to trust anybody with their wallet, right? But if I got to talk with you over a few drinks, or over a few days, or over even a few months, you might trust me with your kids. You might trust me with your friends, you might trust me at your house, whatever it might be. Same thing with online. So the least amount of information you collect from somebody, the higher the conversion, but you might get that bigger conversion later. So even and we've done a lot of lead generation, even for the lead generation where you are trying to disqualify people, right? Build that trust first by getting their information, build the relationship, then go through a qualification where you give them a bunch of information first.
Gotcha. So,
Yeah.
so no matter what email, there's pretty much
The highest conversion.
highest conversion,
Yeah.
and then qualify them.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
You can't personalize very well with it because their first name helps. But if you ask for a last name, you're really doomed. Zach. How would you go about marketing a PR company? He said. Yeah, because most of them don't know how to market themselves. That's really funny. Did you get a PR company as a client?
Yes.
Yeah, and they're like still sending news releases and stuff, and writing for magazines. No different than I would market a dentist. Okay, so the strategy is the same. You're going to advertise that they do PR and that they'll help build public relations. Now with PR, they can do cool stuff. Like they have ins to journalists and they have ins to different media outlets where they can get stories published and posted, but they don't know how to tell clients that. They don't know how to get that message spread, right? So we have a really good PR agency we aligned ourselves with in DC who's great at getting our clients like a cooking show on TV or, you know, getting spotlighted in certain online journal sites or online blog sites for like the Eatery and things like that for DC. And she's terrific with that, right? And she's actually really great on Twitter because a lot of the PR people are really great at Twitter, but nothing else, okay? So then it's a matter of, well, I'm gonna help you reach customers who want that, but I'm gonna help you reach them through Facebook. So you're gonna do, but you're gonna, so all of it still applies. Would you do a contest or a giveaway? Maybe, maybe not, but you're still gonna have to build awareness through Facebook advertising for them and through other mechanisms, but I would probably get videos of them talking about how they can get them placement, because that's what they're selling. They're selling placement. Old PR people are usually pretty good at placement, and they're not going away necessarily, they're just losing. Let's take a different,
What's the difference between you?
When would you use like a dark post ad versus the live or the feed that you were talking about?
when you don't need everybody on your front page feed to see what it is you're advertising. So maybe you're advertising something very specific, like for instance, dental implants for people that are elderly or who might be missing or losing their teeth. Okay, so I might advertise dental implants to people who are losing their teeth, but on my dentist page, I want to keep it more about family-friendly stuff and about teeth whitening and about dental cleaning and stuff, and I'm keeping my implant ads dark post, meaning it's only going to show up on my target audience for people who might need implants.
Gotcha.
So whenever the target's so specific that it maybe doesn't resonate or make sense to have it on the feed.
This is a post on like a fan page or something, or like your
On a fan
your
page.
Okay.
Yes. Now remember, a dark post is still an ad that shows up like a post on your feed. On the feed of somebody else while they're scrolling. But when they go to your fan page, it's not on your feed.
Gotcha.
That's all it is. And if you, by the way, if you Google what is a dark post, it'll give you a better explanation than what I probably gave you. You have another question?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, when you get a new client, how do you create their main story theme?
Well, one of the things that it's interesting about when you work with the clients is they don't even know their story, right? So they can't even help you with that. So I take it from the discovery meeting. So before I kick off with a client, I always ask, one of the very first questions out of my mouth when I meet with a prospect is, what's your story? Tell me a little bit about how you started. How'd this come to be? And they tell you their story in the discovery meeting. That way when you're in the kickoff meeting, you say, let's talk about your brand story, and they look at you like a deer in headlights, you can say, well, for starters, you shared all this with me. And then they go, oh yeah, and I'll say, well, that's really your story. You know, that was really interesting how you guys got this going, and you told me you guys were both from Lebanon, and this came, this is how come this food, got on your menu, and you told me the story of how you visited different places in the Middle East to come up with different recipes. Let's get that into your brand story, and they don't even realize that is their story, but you ask it conversationally, because when you try to get it out of them with like very specific brand questions, I have that in my digital marketing template. I have very specific brand questions. They have a hard time filling that stuff out. But when you talk to them casually and you do it in a setting of discovery, that's how I start every one of my sales meetings. Tell me a little bit about how you guys got this going. How did you get your business started? What was your original vision? And then I'll get into what were you projecting for sales, what's missing, how are you marketing, and all that. But it starts with their story, because then you can use it later against them. Anybody else? Back here. You can shout it, I'll repeat it.
Hi, I would like to know what software or platform are you using to run the contest? I did a contest years ago, and it went really well. And then I did a second one, and it didn't go well. So, what are you using?
So in SMA, we showed WooBox, because that was right around the time we started experimenting with ClickFunnels. Think about, look, it was a little over a year ago now. Isn't that crazy? So we were using WooBox, and you can use WooBox, and there's a whole bunch of different sweepstakes and contest apps that work really well with Facebook. When you run something off of Facebook, you got to make it clear that it's not associated with Facebook because it's not an approved app. But now we strictly use the strategy I just showed you, which is we use ClickFunnels to collect that email, versus before we were using it in WooBox and then taking those emails and exporting them and then sticking them into whatever email provider they were using or email marketing client they were using or what we would set up for them. Now, it all can be managed technically through ClickFunnels, but it also can be exported if needed. Yep.
One more question.
Right here. Text message marketing, SMS marketing. Yeah, so I still love it. So I think, people get buzzed, they check their messages within 10 minutes. So we use it for a lot of local businesses. Now, for instance, there's different applications that are incorporating it into it, like ZenReach for restaurants, for example, now will allow you to collect phone numbers as well. But we use SMS text marketing for probably 60% of our local clients. It's a matter of getting them to embrace it. And whether or not they want to add it on, because we're going to charge them an extra fee to manage it, and it costs them an extra fee to have it. But I still think it's for certain types of businesses who particularly want to reach, which just about is everybody now through text marketing. The thing is, with text marketing, because you'll run into small businesses who've tried it and they failed because they didn't have a strategy to get phone numbers, because you can use this exact same strategy to get phone numbers. And think about it this way. You can do it twofold here. Here's your last bit of information. I can collect an email here, but when they comment on the post, which might be 1,000 comments, in Messenger, maybe it says, hey, join our text club and get 50% off today in our store. So now you're getting their email and their text phone number through Messenger with one campaign for $150. So there's a lot of different ways you could spin this. We did this with a restaurant. We had their winner announced via email. We said, we're going to announce the winner via email. And then the email went out, that's how you get an 80% open rate, by the way, in email. You announce the winner of a contest through email. So we announced the winner through email, and then we said, to get a $50 gift card for $25, click here, put in your phone number and click here to get that voucher. And it was during Christmas. So that's how we collected like another 1,000 phone numbers for that restaurant's phone mail list as well. They were really happy. And they grew and this was the same business that did the patio party giveaway I think I showed inside of the course. That grew from $100,000 a month in sales to $186,000 in sales, 86% increase in 1 year, and called me to have me come in. They insisted I come into their bar. I had no idea why. They said, you have to come in. I'll buy you a drink. They said, we'll buy you an old-fashioned. It's one of my favorite drinks. I said, I'll be there. I came in. He said, I wanted to sit you down and tell you in person. Our goal was to grow by 50% when we met you. They actually paid me for a coaching program, and I worked with them for 2 months. They said, I said, I know that was very ambitious because nobody grows by 50%. That's a restaurant. He says, we did 186,000 last month, grew by 86%. All of you have the tools to do that for any one of your clients from what you've learned in the SMA course and what you've learned right here. That's it. Thanks.
Perfect. Thank you, Joe.